Greetings, change leaders. What are the critical factors we must consider for influencing change in ourselves, others, and organizations? Keep this question in mind as you dive into Module 2. First, a little bit of review. Module 1 introduced an internal perspective of change by exploring problems with initiating change inside an organization. One of the concepts we learned is most change initiatives fail. Throughout this course, we'll learn how to avoid the common mistakes that lead to failure. Start gathering tools and practices to ensure lasting and meaningful change. For Module 2, this week we'll step outside of ourselves and our organizations to consider what's happening in our competitive environments. As MBA students, you're likely already familiar with SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis serves as a form of field analysis or gap analysis that allows us to develop plans that leverage our internal strengths to tap external opportunities and to work around our internal weaknesses to mitigate external threats. The PESTLE analysis that we explore this week is a fundamental tool for analyzing the external environment by helping us consider political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental forces that shape our external environment and influence our organization and people. The course materials will provide a PESTLE analysis for the USA market that you can use for building your course project. Key concept: a continuous analysis leads to constant adaptation. Critical environmental analysis is not an event, it's an ongoing process. We should continuously monitor our internal and external environment to identify needs to adapt. For an idea about how successful organizations conduct environmental analysis, go to the Business Source Ultimate Database and search for SWOT plus your favorite Fortune 100 company. You'll likely find successful organizations conduct an environmental analysis at least once a quarter. Ongoing environmental analysis helps the organization recognize disconnects between strategy and the environment so we can adapt our plans as we implement them. Let's talk about fostering change readiness. Suppose we insist on ensuring the status quo to reduce stress or build satisfaction in our workforce. The intent might be to create a happy and satisfied workforce, but we may discover the hard way. The more we attempt to maintain the status quo in a turbulent competitive environment, the more we build a complacent workforce resistant to adaptability and performance. In other words, trying to preserve the harmony of a status quo can be counterproductive. The turbulence of a dynamic competitive environment may eventually crush us if we fail to foster an adaptable and resilient culture. In a dynamic competitive environment, our job is not to shield the workforce from environmental stress. Instead, we must provide the crew with the capacity, tools, resources, and resilience they need to leverage challenges for growth, adaptability, and performance. Our primary objectives for the week are: first, to understand PESTLE as a tool for illuminating a need to change. Second, we will consider the role stakeholders play in change initiatives. So key concepts to look for. In Module 2 resources, you'll find critical tools for your course project, including a stakeholder model of change that applies stakeholder theory to consider the roles and processes for engaging organizational stakeholders in change initiatives. PESTLE analysis helps us identify the political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental factors in an organization's competitive environment. Course materials will provide you with a PESTLE analysis for the USA. Also look in the Business Source Ultimate Database for PESTLE Singapore to access PESTLE analysis for Singapore. Comparing these two documents will provide you with some understanding of the differences and similarities in national cultures, but you'll need to dig into the case study to uncover information about the specific organizational cultures you are trying to merge. A challenge: how do we align the activities of diverse people to work together for common goals? In your strategy implementation and change management course, pay special attention to these models. Levine's force field analysis. In short, recognize the disconnect between the status quo and the desired state, then create and implement plans to unfreeze, move, refreeze. Kotter's 8-step change management process is a practical application of Levine's model. When you review Kotter's model, you'll start to recognize a common approach to change management applied by organizations, governments, special interest groups, and even con artists to drive changes in our thoughts, actions, and behaviors. It's not a conspiracy, it's change management. Theory E and Theory O offers diametrically opposed approaches to driving change. Do we shatter the culture to make quick changes based on the organization's needs, or do we slowly implement changes to preserve the organizational culture? Or do we combine these approaches? So key activities for the week. Put on your HR consultant hats. In Module 2, you will create a pestle analysis report that explains how environmental factors impact an organization's change readiness. You'll write a memo about the importance of stakeholder analysis to create a change management plan. Now, tips on your memo. Create a detailed outline. Then fill in the outline with substance that you support with research to establish credibility and persuade your audience. Keep it simple. You're not writing an academic paper for a professor. You're writing a memo to executives. That means short attention span theater. Be concise, complete, and credible. You also have an opportunity to make progress on your AICPA certification by completing part of the strategy implementation and change management course, including the modules Customers, Suppliers, and Supply Chain Management and Change Management, Understanding the Context of Changes. The courses will provide you with an overview of strategy implementation and change management models. As you earn these badges and certificates, make sure you update your resume and LinkedIn profile to broadcast your achievements and skills. You should be able to directly access the courses from the learning management system. No discount codes or registration are required. For additional tips in business, read the Module 2 Leading Change Bulletin. Also remember that I will hold a live session to answer your questions, discuss course concepts, demonstrate how to complete the assignments, and network. Please see the announcement and course calendar for live session details. I'll record the live session for those who can't attend, but I hope to see you there. Meanwhile, don't hesitate to contact me with your questions, comments, and suggestions. That's all for now. Let's get to work.